Hello and welcome back to your Pennsylvania Dutch Minute. Different location for filming today, but don't worry about that. It's might look differently than what you're used to, but it's the same Pennsylvania Dutch gospel that we're spreading here. In our last video, we talked about the past tense in Pennsylvania Dutch, and we said that it's a little tricky. You have to form a sentence, and there's a lot going on. You have your subject, and then either habe or sei, and then your objects, and then the GE form or the past participle form of the verb goes all the way to the end of the sentence. And we talked about how sometimes those GE forms look totally different from the original, and you just have to memorize them, and it's a little tricky. But this week, we're going to continue that. There's one verb in Pennsylvania Dutch that has an alternative past tense form. So it has its GE form, like we learned about in the previous video, but it also has its own separate form that is different. And that is, of course, the verb that never plays by any of the rules, and that's sei. Sei in Pennsylvania Dutch, of course, means to be in the past tense would be was or were. So this one's different. And my goodness, the glare on my bald head. What are you going to do? So this, as I said, this verb has its own separate past tense form. If you studied Standard German, you probably, if you studied more than 1 year, you might have learned about what's known as the simple past tense or the narrative past tense. It's another past tense that German has. For whatever reason, Pennsylvania Dutch did not keep that form of the past tense. When we speak in the past tense, we only speak in the GE form, except for this one verb. For whatever reason, we did maintain this one verb's other past tense form, and it's used a lot, so it's important that we cover that. So what I have here is how it conjugates out in the past tense. So if you notice the red words, sei completely changes its spelling. It looks nothing like the original. That's just how it works. And think about in English the same thing. To be goes to was. It looked nothing alike either. So let's look at this. So we conjugate it out this way. Ich war, du warst, RCS, war, mir, ware, dir, ward, sie, ware. It's something you're going to have to memorize since it is so different, doesn't play by normal rules of conjugation either. So, war, warshed, war, ware, ward, ware. So let's actually look at this in use. I have the English sentence, he was there. And notice that I have two forms because, as I said, sei can be done in both past tenses. I'm showing you both so that you understand that they both mean the same thing. He was there. The first one is in this new form. War, dot. War, dot. He was there. But you can also say it in the GE form, like what we learned about in the last video. And if you do it that way, it's is dot gewest. Is dot gewest. They mean exactly the same thing. But I'll tell you now that if you run into the average Pennsylvania Dutch speaker, they're not going to say the second one. They're not going to say is dot gewest. They're going to say war dot. Boom. It's faster. It's quicker. That's what we would say. And most speakers that you're going to run into would say that, of course. So that's the one that I want you to say. Memorize. Don't count out gewest because there are times when you can use that. But the war form is what you're going to hear often. And if we take the same idea and turn it into a question, just to show you word order and so forth, like we've talked about before, were you in the church? Warst du in die Kirche? Warst du in die Kirche? And you could do that in the GE form as well. That would be bist du in die Kirche gewest? Bist du in die Kirche gewest? But again, nobody would say that. They'd say warst du in die Kirche? So just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware that there was this other form of sei in the past tense because that's the past tense form that's used the most by Pennsylvania Dutch speakers. Memorize this verb, how it changes, how it conjugates, and start using it. Think about how many times we use the word was in English or were. And if you think of an English sentence, then try and translate it into Pennsylvania Dutch. That's how you're going to, keep practicing. So that's that. I think we're going to leave past tense for a little bit because we kind of covered both bases that we need to cover. At this point, if you have an idea for a future video or a question, or you don't quite understand how something, you want to know how something works, then please feel free to email me. My address is at the end of the video. Also, recently I've been getting a lot of emails with positive comments about, what I'm doing and the website, and I really appreciate reading those. It lets me know that people are actually utilizing this material for good. purposes, and it keeps me going. If I stop hearing from you guys, then the videos might stop coming. I don't know. I can't make any promises, but if I think that no one's using my stuff, then I'm not gonna make it. So keep the positive vibes coming. I appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do that. Also, tell your friends. Spread the gospel of Pennsylvania Dutch. Spread the love. And until next time, keep practicing your Pennsylvania Dutch. And Mox good.
That's good.